So hello everybody, today we are going to create this timeline as you can see that in the screen. So this is a vertical timeline as you can see that here, which have a nice little hover effect, and also you can see the layout which is looking good, and also it's a fully responsive. As you can see that that's the tablet view, and that's what it will look like in the tablet device. And if you go to the mobile device, as you can see that it is also looking good in our mobile device. So it is perfectly responsive design as you can see. And in this video we are going to create this, and if you are new to my channel, please do subscribe. And no more talk, let's dive into the video. So here as you can see that this is my HTML and this is my CSS file, and all are empty. So in the HTML file, let's create a boilerplate and let's give it a title of vertical timeline. And also here let's link our style sheet. So this will be the style.css. So we linked our style sheet, and here in the body let's create a div with a class of container, and in this div we will have another div which will have a class of timeline. So this will be our timeline, and here we will have another list, and in this list we will have our list item, which is basically the content for our timeline. So for each list item we will have a div which will have a class of timeline content. So here we will have our content. So let's say that for the first one we will have a h1, so heading 1, and also we will have a paragraph, let's say that lorem 20, and that's for our first item. So let's also make some more item. So we will have now 4 item, as you can see, list item. So let's make it 2 heading 2, and this will be heading 3, and this will be heading 4, so that we can recognize that. And after that, that's it for our HTML, and let's open it with our live server. And here as you can see that our live server, and here is our content h1 and this paragraph, and we have 4 of them. So let's come to our style, and here let's say that for the universal selector the margin will be 0 and the padding will be 0, and also say that box sizing will be border box. Now as you can see that there are no extra gap. So after that let's go to our Google Fonts and grab a font. So come here, fonts.google.com, and we will use Montserrat for this video. So let's come here and search for Montserrat, and this is the Montserrat font, and we will use 300, and also we will use 500 font weight. So let's copy the import tag from here and close this tab and paste the import tag in the top of our style.css. Perfect. So now we can use Montserrat font in our project or in this timeline. So here first of all in the HTML let's apply our font. So let's say that font family will be Montserrat, and also give it a fallback font family of sans serif. Now let's go to our container, and here let's say that min height will be 100 VH and width will be 100%, and display flex, and align items center, and justify contents center. Now as you can see that that's our content which is now in center. Perfect. So let's also have a background color. So come here and say that background color will be 10 10 10. So this will be a black background color, so we can't see our heading or this text. So let's come to our HTML and say that color will be white. Now as you can see that we can see our content. Fine. So after that, come to our timeline div. Here let's say that width will be 80%. So each will be 80% width, and height will be, let's say that auto, and also max width will be 800 pixel, and margin 0 auto, so that it stay in the center, and also make sure that position is relative. So as you can see that now our width of this timeline having only 80% of the full width. As you can see, no matter where we will go, it will keep the max width of 800. As you can see that here, we can come to our UL. So timeline UL, and let's say that list style will be none. So we will remove this bullet point if I save. As you can see that, so now we don't have any bullet point. And after that, let's come to our timeline and UL li. So for the list item, we will have a padding of 20 pixel, and also let's give it a background color of something. Let me copy the color. So as you can see that that's our background color. So also let's give it a color of white, and also give it a border radius of 10 pixel. So as you can see that now we have this border radius here. After that, let's give it a margin bottom, so that we have some space between this item. As you can see that we have now some space. So we have now margin bottom for each of the element, but we do not need any margin bottom for the last element, because we don't have any item after this last heading or last item. So what I can say that we can select this last item. So let's say that last child, and say that margin will be margin bottom only. Margin bottom will be 0. As you can see, that's perfect. So we will not have any margin bottom for the last one, and all of other item will have this margin bottom, as you can see, so that we can have some gap between those items. So after that, let's style our content. So as you can see that for the content we have a class which is timeline content. So we can select it very easily, timeline content. And here what I can do is, let's say that for the first one, which is the H1, we will have a font size of something like 25 pixel, which is looking good, and font weight will be about 500, and also say that font size is 25, font weight 500, and line height, let's give it some line height of 30 pixel, looking good. And let's give it a margin bottom, so that we can have some room between this heading and paragraph. Perfect. So after that, let's go to our paragraph and style it. So font size will be 16 pixel, and font height will be, sorry, line height will be, not font height, line height will be about 30 pixel, means 30 pixel, and font weight will be the lightweight 300. So this will be the paragraph, as you can see, looking good. So this is looking good for our mobile. As you can see that we will make this timeline responsive, which means it will be good for our mobile device also. So for the mobile, it will be like this regular div as you can see, but whenever we will go to the desktop or the tablet view, we will have our timeline back. So for this reason, what we can do is we can add media query. Let's say that media only screen and min width 768 pixel. So which means whenever we will go to the desktop or tablet view, we will have our timeline. So here in our media query, first of all, let's create our timeline here. So first of all, let's create the timeline shape, which is the 50% of the width. So here, first of all, let's grab our ul li and let's say that width will be 50%. As you can see that the li is now 50% width of our full timeline width. So that's fine. And also say that margin bottom will be about 50 pixel, which is greater than. Now as you can see that we have now more space in the bottom, which is looking fine. And also let's say that the position will be the relative, and that's fine. So the next thing is we need to separate these even or odd item, means the first one will be in the left, the second one, which is the even number of item, will be in the right side. So we need to position them. So let's come here and select the even list item. So let's come here in the timeline ul and li. What you can do is nth child, it will be one column and nth child. And first of all, let's grab the odd one and say that float will be left. Now as you can see that we can't see our odd item. So after that, let's also give it the even here. So it will be float right. Now as you can see that we can see our all four items. Now if you can notice that our even, which is this 2 and 4, is now positioned in the right side, and the odd number, which is the 1 and 3, is positioned in the left side. Perfect. So the next thing what we need is we need to clear. So for the odd, what we need to do is we need to clear. So as you can see that the position of the float is left, so we need to clear this right side. So let's say that clear right. And for the even, what we need is we need to clear the left side because our float is right. So now as you can see that for this heading one, which is our odd number, is float left, which means it is positioned in the left, and the clear, which is this part, is now have no float element here. As you can see, this is now clear. And for the even, we don't have any item, float item in the left side, as you can see. So that's looking fine. So the next thing, we need a line in the center of this timeline. So we can create this line with the pseudo elements of our timeline. So create this timeline, and after, not after, we can use before, and let's say that content will be nothing and position will be absolute, and also say that height will be 100%, and the width will be about 2 pixel, and we will make a color. So let's give it a color of gray, and that's it. Not color, actually we need to make it a background color. So as you can see that that's our line, which is perfectly, but we need to position it in the center. So to make it center, what I can do is I can say that left will be 50%. So it will make it in the center, but if you can notice that here it is not perfectly in center. So for that, what I can do is I can make sure about transform translate x minus 50%. which will make sure that it is now in perfectly center, as you can see. So that's fine. This is our timeline. So the next thing is we want some gap between this line and this item. So in li, so whenever we have this odd item, we need the space in the right side of the item, but whenever we have the even item, we need the space in the left side. So let's come here. In our odd item, we can say that transform translate x will be 30 pixel. So as you can see that now it is going this side. So if I give it a -30, it will move in the opposite side, as you can see. So let's also give it for our even, and it will be opposite of our previous one. So as you can see that now we have this gap between this item and this line. Perfect. So the next thing is we need something circular for to indicate the item. So to make the circular thing, what I can do is we can create this with the pseudo element of this li. So let's come here and say that maybe after this one, select this li and create a after, and let's say that content will be nothing, and we will have a position of absolute, and let's give it a height of 20 pixel and width of 20 pixel and background color of gray also, and we can't see it because we don't have this gray. Now as you can see that that's our circular thing, but it is not circle. So let's make it circle by giving it a border radius. So border radius will be 50%, which will make it circle, as you can see. So we need to position it in the line. So first of all, let's give it a top 0, so that as you can see that the circle is now in the top. So as you can see that this is the even item and this is the this is the odd item and this is the even item, and for those item we need to position this dot differently. As you can see, for this for this odd we need to position it in the right side, but for the even we need to position it in the left side of itself. So what I can do is we need to select these even and odd separately. So timeline ul and li and child, and let's select this odd and say that after. So, and let's say that we need to position it in the right side. Let's give it right 0. Let's see what happens. As you can see that for the only odd item, which is 1 and 3, the position of the dot is now in the right corner, because we have a top 0 and right 0, which basically means the right corner. But we don't want it in the right corner, we want it in the top of the line, as you can see. So for that, what I need to do is I need to make sure about transform. So let's give it a transform translate and give it a 50% and also 50%. So whenever I will give, as you can see that it is now in this side, but for the odd we want the second value, which is the translate y minus. Now as you can see that it is now perfectly in the corner. So perfect. So the next thing is we need to move it into the line. So before that, as you can see that we have a translate x, which is -30 pixel. So that's why this is the gap, as you can see here. So we need to move also 30 pixel here, because we want it in the line. So what I can do is in our right we can make a 30 pixel. As you can see, we need to make -30 pixel. As you can see now it is perfectly in center and also in our top of the line, as you can see that. So this number, which is the -30 pixel for the odd, as you can see it should be the same. If I give it a -50 pixel, as you can see that the gap of the amount of gap, as you can see, it is increased. Also, as you can see that the dot is now is not in position, so we need to make sure that those mark are similar. As you can see, we need to make sure that these two are similar for the odd here. So let's get back to 30. So also let's make sure about this our even dot. So it will be simple and also the same, so we can duplicate the left value or this odd value and make it even. And what I can do is I need to make sure also we have a minus in this translate here, so it will be minus 50% and minus 50%, and also make sure that it is now a positive 30 pixel, because if you can see that we have a even 30 pixel. Perfect. Sorry, here we need to make sure that it is in the left, not right. So if I give it left, so as you can see that we need to make sure that it should be go in the opposite side, so we need to make sure that there will be a minus. So as you can see that now our each dot have position in the line, in the top of the line, as you can see. So perfect, which is looking good. And if I go to here and check the responsiveness, as you can see that it is fully responsive, which is looking good. And also let's give it a top padding. So in our container, maybe here, so let's give it a padding for the top and bottom 100 pixel. So we will have a 100 pixel gap in the top and bottom. So as you can see that whenever we'll have something like a small device, we will have this gap, so which is looking good. So the next thing is we need to add a hover effect. So let's say that whenever I will hover this item, we want to change the color of the dot. So for that, let's come to our here in our media query, because we will have this timeline in only our media query, which means only in our tablet or desktop device. So we will not have this in our mobile device. So make sure that we will change or we will have a media query here. So let's come here and say that timeline dot ul li. Whenever I'll hover a li, which is the list item, and I want to change the after, which is basically the dot, and I want to change the background color of it and make it aqua, something like that. As you can see that we have now perfectly changed this, which is looking good, looking good. And also what you can do is you can change the border radius, something like, so let me change it. So for the even, sorry, for the odd, let's come here and say that background color, which will be now 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, and 10 pixel for the all side. As you can see, it is not changed because it is what we have now. Sorry, we have a typo, not background color, we want border radius. So as you can see that there is no change, because what we have now is we have a 10 pixel border radius, which is basically this one what we have, but we don't want border radius, let's say that in this corner, which is this one, second one. So let's say that for the second one we will have 0 pixel. So as you can see that we have this shape, which is looking good. And if you want, you can make the border radius, increase it something like 20 pixel, which will also look good, as you can see. So as you can see that for this one also it is looking good. And also let's make it for the even item. So in the even, what I can do is I can copy this and paste it here. And also what I need to change is need to change the first one, which is this one, and it will create this effect. As you can see, it is looking good. So all is looking perfect. And the last item what we need to add is we need to add a, let's say that we need to add a time or date. So let's give it a date here. So in our timeline content, let's give it a date, so maybe h2, and give it a class of date, not that date, and let's say that 20 May 2010, something like that. So perfect, as you can see. So let's also give it to all of other item. So for the second, for the third, and for the last one. Perfect, as you can see, we have now this date in our every item. So first of all, let's do the style for our mobile. So come here, out of our media query, we can say that timeline content, this date, and let's say that font size will be about something like 13 pixel, and also font family, not font family, font weight T100, which is looking good. Perfect, as you can see that. And also make sure that we have a margin bottom. Let's give it a margin bottom of 10 pixel. So as you can see that we have little gap here, and also make a letter spacing here about 2 pixel. So looking good in our mobile device. So we need to make sure about our desktop device, because we want to show it in the top of our item. So let's come our media query here, maybe in the end of our media query. So let's come here and make a selection of our timeline content and date. And what I need is, I need to make sure the position is absolute. Now as you can see that the position of this date is now absolute, and what I can do is I can position it by top, let's say that minus 20 pixel, not equal, it will be minus 20 pixel. As you can see that we have now, it is perfectly in position minus 20 pixel, maybe minus 30, which is looking also good. As you can see that we have now a date here which is looking pretty awesome. Perfect. Now we have a cool looking timeline here. As you can see, if you want you can increase it. So let's say that I want to increase it. Let's add another one, maybe another one here, maybe 2, and let's come here and say that it will be 5 and it will be 6th. And now as you can see that here we have our 5th one, and here is our number 6 item. So whenever you want you can increase the limit. So whenever you want you can add your item here. So this is looking perfect, and it is also responsive. As you can see that for the tablet it will be like that, and for the mobile it will be like this one. Pretty amazing. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe my channel if you want to see more video like this one. And that's it for this video. Stay home, stay safe, and my name is Arfan. I will see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye, Khuda Hafiz.